Hello, family members. It's your Auntie Elaine here to talk to you today about how to verify the credibility of YouTube content creators, or just verify credibility sort of generally as well. Um, and the reason I wanted to talk about this today is I was watching the most recent Carl Jobst video, and he is responding to a lawyer critiquing his allegations about the completionist. Now, if you don't know anything about all of that, don't worry about it. It's not really relevant, but the thing it really kind of brought home to me was credentials and credibility can be very different topics, because he was responding to a lawyer, so you would assume that the lawyer would be very well educated and know what they were talking about, especially since some of the allegations made are of a legal nature. Um, but it was very clear that the lawyer responding was not very well educated on the specifics of the particular case. And so he had the credentials, but by his own admission, he hadn't consumed all of the relevant YouTube videos even, let alone knew about the details to make any sort of definitive decision on what he believed and try to spread that as something meaningful. And so he had credentials, but not the credibility. And it's not always that easy to tell when somebody is credible or not on YouTube, credentialed or otherwise. I think a lot of people on YouTube find new content creators when they go viral. And so the creator has made a top content about some topic that is a very, salacious or intriguing type of, very topical kind of thing. And it's something along the lines of Dan Olson's NFT video or something like that. And when you first come across something like that, that's just a contextless video that isn't related to the broader channel, you don't necessarily know just going into the video how credible the creator is going to be and how meaningful their conclusions are going to be. And so one thing that I like to do if I'm, say, actively checking out a new creator, or if I see a creator's put out a video on a topic that is very topical that I'm interested in, but I've never heard of them before, I may, in those cases, actively choose to go find a video by that creator about a topic I already know a lot about. The easiest way to know if somebody really knows what they're talking about is to listen to them talk about something that you know a lot about. It's a very strange thing in human psychology, but when it comes to confidence on how well you understand a topic, it starts high, goes low, and goes back to high. Like the people who are, least confident in their understanding of a topic are people that have a moderate understanding of that topic, because they know enough to know how much they don't know. Whereas somebody who doesn't know very much about a topic can confidently assert that they know so much because they don't know how much they don't know about that topic, or how much there is to know about a specific topic. And only when somebody becomes a real, true, like world-class expert does that confidence really come back, And so just because someone is confident in what they're saying doesn't mean they know what they're talking about. In fact, a lot of the times it's a good indication that they maybe don't, So Another thing you can do if you're watching the actual viral video without doing any further investigation into the channel or the creator is you can see how confidently they talk about things, whether or not they admit that there were things they couldn't find out, or that, the stories are disparate on, if somebody says, well, this is one theory about what happened, this is one theory about what happened, and honestly, I don't know one way or the other, that's generally a good sign that they have really thought about what they're saying. So, I watch YouTube basically on my TV, on my smart TV. I don't use like YouTube on my phone, or I don't really even use like regular traditional computers anymore for any number of reasons. But so it's not necessarily all that easy to do a whole lot of, background research on a YouTube video that I just want to watch. But if I do feel up to it, I can always open up a browser and I can search Google for a topic to see if there's any news stories or credible literature out there on that topic. I can also search for whatever the topic is on YouTube and see if there's any creators that I do know that have established their credibility with me, that I could, use their versions instead. That's always an option. But when you're just, watching it, the things that they say are what you have to evaluate. And how they, speak to their sources is an extremely good way to evaluate a creator. Now, there's shallow ways to do this. There's a video by the content creator Jose about Steven Crowder, where he talks about how Crowder includes links to his sources, but the links are invaluable. There'll be repeated links to the same source, making it look like there's more sources there than there are. The source may not actually say what he says it says, or may have contradictory information that he doesn't cite. So simply having sources is not always a good sign, but usually if somebody is a sincere YouTube creator, what they're trying to do is they're trying to share information with the community, and they want people to know more about what topic they're talking about. And so they're generally going to want to direct you to other places where you can learn more. Books, other YouTubers, websites, any number of things. Traditional media documentaries, all sorts of places where a legitimate creator is probably going to direct their followers. They'll say, if they're saying, I'm responding to this video, they'll often say, you might want to watch this video to make sure I'm not misrepresenting it. Although, given the way that YouTube works as far as metrics, giving a video that you don't like a watch is kind of it's counterproductive. So you're not always going to hear that. Don't think that that's always a good sign, but that can be a good sign. Another thing that you'll want to look for is sources not just being linked in the description. I mean, sometimes that'll happen, but it's good practice for YouTubers, if they're going to have their sources just linked in the description, to mention that. See my description for more information. Best practice is to put it on screen. If you go back and look at some of my earlier attempts at video essays, when I had a little bit more bandwidth before my disability kind of made that not a possibility anymore, that's what I was attempting to do. I'd always try the best I could to show the article on screen or the web page on screen and link it. in the description and show the link on screen, talk about, where I got my information. Because if you're being truthful, then you want people to know how to investigate further. So, and you're going to want to point to other YouTubers who you believe are, going to spread similar information or talk about important topics. That's always a good way of finding new creators, of course, is by finding people who are referenced in videos that you already, trust. If ContraPoints, I don't know, says that I really like this YouTube channel, I would probably be interested in looking at that because I believe in her credibility. I feel it's well established at this point. And so to me, it's just a situation where, like, it's really important that we have multiple ways that we can find credible creators, because the solution to it is not to never watch new creators. And good videos go viral all the time, like really good videos, and really bad videos go viral all the time. And so we need to have a way that when something pops up on our feed that we don't have never seen before, that we can really easily tell if this is something that does seem credible or not before we really invest ourselves in understandings, people's ideas. The fact of the matter is, YouTube and its algorithm is meant for viewer retention. And viewer retention is a function of a lot of different things. Credibility can be one of the things that causes viewer retention. If people believe that videos are credible, they're going to want to watch them and maybe watch them for longer or watch them more than once. And so I hope that positive reinforcement that comes from that credibility can be something that the YouTube consumer can come to appreciate as well. Because I know the way that I really started thinking about all this was Ann Reardon. Ann Reardon is the one who taught me about content farms, which, if you don't know her, she does How to Cook That. She's the Australian YouTuber who started out doing like debunking videos, primarily 5-minute crafts, which, yeah, because they would spread recipes that didn't work. And, things like that can be very discouraging. Fake information. If somebody tries a science experiment that's fake or creates a cake from a fake recipe and it doesn't work out right, they may think that it was them and not the information that they got and give up, not try again. And so even things that seem kind of silly, like fake recipes, if I might see a recipe and think that's obviously fake, she might see it, Ann Reardon being a food specialist, but, somebody who doesn't know a whole lot about the topic might not notice the obvious things about it that are wrong. And so I really appreciate the effort that she's made in letting the YouTube environment know as a whole, hey, these content creators making content farms, there's harm in this information. And when I realized that, I really stopped just watching whatever and started thinking about what I was watching a lot more, because I had been watching 5-minute crafts videos, and I did know that the hacks and whatnot were complete nonsense most of the time. And that didn't bother me. It was just like visually stimulating. Like right now with my anxiety and everything, visual or audio stimulation is almost like essential. And so I almost always have the TV running with some sort of YouTube video that's either visually or or audio stimulation for me. And I completely stopped watching 5-minute crafts after that, and I got a lot more selective about all types of creators that I engaged with. And so I hope that people take the time, because the fact of the matter is, as an individual YouTube viewer, I might not have much influence. But YouTube as a community, we're the product that YouTube is selling. And the way they make their money is by advertisements. And what they're selling to the advertisers is access to us, right? And they may also, I suspect, be making money from content creators paying to boost content. And that may be more and more of a source of their revenue. But even if that never comes to be, either way, we're the product. And if we withhold our attention and our retention, then we can be powerful. And I keep advocating this, you are more powerful than you realize in this algorithmic world. What you like, what you watch, what you comment on, what you share, what you talk about, all of those things count in the long run when it comes to the way that metrics evaluate. Because the fact of the matter is, we always want things to be quantitative. It's a lot easier if we can just put a number on something and say that's a success versus that's not a success. Like a movie's box office, or batter's average. You can tell I'm not a sports person. But at any rate, that's not how quality really works, You can't just put a number on things. And so when we live in a metric-driven world as we do, there are always going to be people who try to put their thumb on the scale and manipulate the metrics. And the way that we get around that is we learn how to evaluate quality for ourselves. And, media literacy is such an important thing. Like, I feel like that needs to be something they teach in school every year, is a good amount of time devoted to media literacy, evaluating and understanding how valuable any given information is, how relevant it is, how accurate it is. That's some of the most important skill that you can have. And I don't think that it's something that we formally value enough in our society yet. We have so much information available. It's so easy for people to distribute that information that we have to learn how to evaluate that information. There used to be third parties that kind of did that, publishers or legacy media. If I watched Dateline, then the credibility of that is the entire program. It's their researchers, their presenters, their producers, everybody. And so that program and that network is doing some filtering to get bunk information out of the atmosphere. But when there's not that third party gatekeeper, more information can get out. And that's a good thing and a bad thing, you know? My videos at the most get a few hundred views. I'm very small creator. But, a few hundred people get to hear what I have to say because there's no gatekeepers keeping me from putting my information out there. And that's kind of awesome, I don't get to talk to that many people being basically homebound and nobody ever wants to come visit me, darn it. I don't get to spread my information around any other way. So I think there's value. I really do. In the fact that anybody can have a YouTube channel. But that doesn't mean that they all deserve to have credibility or views or any of that. And it's up to us, the YouTube consumers, to be savvy enough to decide who deserves it and who doesn't. So anyway, a little bit of a housekeeping note here. I got myself a little mikey mic because I had some audio issues when I tried to do this before where I didn't hold the phone. So if you watched my Summerton effect video and you think this is an improvement or improvement over my normal videos, let me know. Any other really easy suggestions to make my videos better? I'm always up for any type of feedback. Obviously, I'd love to have some engagement because it makes my metrics look good, but that's not the value of feedback to me. Feedback is an extremely valuable thing. And if you can understand why that is, then you can certainly understand why it is that what we watch, we should be giving feedback mentally to ourselves, So, that's all I had for you today. I will show you one of the dogs. Let's see. Who wants to be on video? I think it's Casey. You want to be on there, Casey? No, he's snoozing. And she's snoozing too. So I guess that's it. You just get me and my big Pikachu squishmallow that I got that I was really excited about. I'm sorry. Such a nerd. All right, I'm done.